Hey everybody, here with another installment of On Tyranny. Um, my name is Kurt Orzek. I'm a music journalist, and I run this series through my website, The Bad Penny. You might be watching it there. You might be watching it on YouTube. Anyway, thanks for joining us today. It's been a little while since I've done one of these. I had some medical stuff last month, so thanks for returning to the dialogues that I've been having over the last couple of years with artists abroad and also in America about how they're reacting and being impacted artistically and in their personal lives by the authoritarian takeover of the United States and just the rise of fascism in various parts of the world. And I'm really grateful, as I said at the beginning, for any artist who wants to take part in the series, because I think it still takes a lot of courage to speak publicly about some of the stuff, which is an outrageous thing to even have to say in 2026 in America. Um, but I'm very honored to welcome today Alton Jenkins from a band called Fuck Money. And they've got a self-titled EP and a self-titled LP out so far, right? And every time I've done one of these interviews, they've been quite different. So I kind of keep it open-ended, and we can talk about, if we digress into other areas, that's fine. That's fine too. But really great band that I recommend everybody checking out. Um, and you guys are based in Austin, and I saw the name Scrape Rock attended, or like kind of tied to your name. Is that something you guys came up with? I haven't heard that term before.
Yeah, we did not come up with that. We had a write-up in the Austin Chronicle or something several years ago, and one of the writers, I can't remember his name, he came up with that, and it just kind of somehow kind of stuck. And then everyone's asked, "What is scrape rock?" I mean, I have no fucking idea. But I think the thing is like they're just trying like we've heard scrape rock, agitprop, like agitation propaganda, something like that. Like a lot of different terms have been used to describe the music because I think it's like there is sort of like a genreless kind of vibe to it. Like it doesn't really sound like any particular thing. So I think it's like kind of free game to come up with whatever kind of term makes sense to whoever's listening.
Yeah, yeah, which gives you a lot of liberty to kind of, assign whatever definition you want to the term.
Yeah.
And it's also, I always think it's a badge of courage when a band can't be easily pigeonholed into one genre.
Yeah, I appreciate that too.
Yeah, yeah. And you guys have been around since 2001. You're going to have your fifth anniversary in October 2001. Is that or October this year? You're going to have your
Uh,
fifth anniversary?
something like that. Yeah, I guess that's when it started. I can't really remember. Yeah, it's been a few years. We've got a few releases under our belt, and we have a new guitar player right now, and we're finishing up recording a new album with him. And so hopefully we can get that out into the world before this, I guess, October anniversary that's coming up. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a good run so far. It's been a lot of fun doing this. So we're just like trying to keep pushing, maybe get some more tours and some more shows outside of Austin this year.
Hmm. Um, Before we dive into talking about current events, you had a um, band before this called Future Death, and I was wondering, what are you able to do in Fuck Money that you weren't able to do in Future Death, or how would you compare and contrast if you could? You don't have to answer that question, but
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think Future Death, Fuck Money is just yeah, I don't that's a really interesting question. I think at the core of both bands, it's like we've never really tried to like fit into a specific category. I think we just are coming from a place of like impulsivity creatively and like just like yeah, I don't know that. So I'd say there's like a shared like creative core, which is like we're just kind of trying to create something new, create something that we haven't heard before. And then of course, like our voice and our sort of like place in the world is sort of portrayed through the music, through the lyrics, through the sound, and just like the way that we carry ourselves and stuff. So
Yeah,
like sonically, it's different. I think like Fuck Money is a little tighter, it's a little heavier. But I think that just happened naturally. But I don't think there's too many differences, other than the sonic differences that you hear. But
sure.
fundamentally, and like our belief system is pretty much the same.
Okay. Um, I always got to hand it to to a band that like you're saying, it's hard to classify in this day and age because it seems like, the way the music industry, if that still exists, functions is by really, really leaning heavily on fragmentation and Spotify, tagging your music a certain way, and and it's it seems very fragmented, and so that's really cool. You guys are able to, you know, just give the middle finger to that, or whatever you do, just avoid it and just do your own thing. And,
Sure, yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. So you talked about ethos. So Um, obviously, capitalism is it's a recurring theme, to say the least, in your work, right? Can you have you guys? I'm sure you've had conversations between yourselves, and then a lot of people who listen to your music, have probably, you know, some degree of understanding about where you stand on uh on that issue, that economic issue in particular. Um, do you have any sort of like a summary of your thoughts about capitalism, not necessarily in a historical sense, but like where it's led us to now?
Yeah, I mean, I think like the big picture right now is, and it's like the same old story through history where like, the powers that be control us through capitalism. And, and we're at a place now in the US where like, we're being, divided. It's such a, and our society is being fragmented at a level and, that we haven't seen, I guess, in probably your 20 or 30 years. And so
Mhm.
the focus is lateral when we should really be coming together. There's a class warfare going on, but really like we should be together, fighting the billionaires and fighting people who are sort of puppeteering this whole shit.
Right.
So I think at the base level, um, at least where I stand, I can't speak for everyone in the band, but I think we're mostly aligned. It's like, we want to build community, and we want to focus like on the people around us and people that we can influence and like protect and take care of.
Yeah.
And we're not so much focused on like attacking our neighbors, but we're trying to like look towards, you know, the 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 people who like, the corporate entities, the world that's controlling us through media and shit like that. Like I mean, it's just like a big shit show right now. I think a lot of people feel powerless, and like we find power through our music and through our community. And so the band is called Fuck Money, and that doesn't mean, we that could mean a lot of different things. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's like fuck capitalism, fuck the idea of it, fuck the control that comes with it, and this sort of this caste system. But at the
Right.
same time, like we require it, right? Like we do need money, and we need to like utilize resources in order to have any, a kind of impact. So there's a duality. There's like a lot of different ways to break down like kind of how we feel and what the band name means.
Um,
A lot of things can be true at the same time.
that's really crazy. I didn't put that together because I thought, my God, I can't believe this. I thought that by fuck money you meant like you're referring to a married couple who had an mutual agreement that they could see other people. And then when the husband leaves on the weekend, he walks out the door to go to a hotel. His wife yells from the other room, "Don't forget your fuck money."
Yeah.
I guess he goes to go to a prostitute. And, that's what I thought it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know, I know. We've heard people say that, but I get, it's
Oh,
not.
fuck, Jim.
I've actually heard that one before. I'm just like,
Oh,
man,
man.
damn, like that would uh,
Yeah.
that is like that's another thing. It's like however someone interprets, I guess it's like relevant to the way they see the world or whatever their reality is.
Yeah, yeah. That's it's that's true. Have you ever considered like like staging like a formal, maybe even a black tie like debate between you and Jermaine Dupri, who I think invented like the making it rain
Oh wow.
concept?
No, I haven't thought of that, but we actually a couple of shows we have made it rain like fake money
Oh, right on.
as
Yeah.
like just like
Excellent.
as a joke. Like we got like thousands of dollars worth of fake $100 bills, and honestly, at the end of the day, like I regretfully just like made a fucking mess at this show, and there was just money everywhere, and I think people were trying to like purchase alcohol like with the fake $100 bills. But it's like there's a lot of fuck you stuff going on. There's a lot of like psyop kind of, I guess the agitprop title kind of is, works for us in some ways, but we're not really like looking to troll anyone or make anyone we're not trying to do anything that's like out of pocket. We try to be like intentional about how we portray ourselves and how we present ourselves.
Sure. Yeah, on the subject community, have you found that your community is mostly the fans of your music and the guys you play with? Is that your sort of central community, or are you also talking about like physical like neighborhood communities and that kind of thing?
Um, that's a good question. I mean, we're really tied into the music scene here. I mean, we influence and we are very influenced by the people that we're around. Yeah, I mean, I guess we're I would say we're not isolated to just like the music scene. It seems like people outside of the music scene or people who maybe aren't even really interested in our music in particular are they're interested in like what we're doing and like how we're doing it and why. I think there's like a curiosity that surrounds the band regardless of like interest in the sound.
Huh.
I think there's I don't know. I guess we're like we've created some sort of energy here where people are just curious to see what we're doing. And so I meet a lot of people who are like, yeah, I've never even been to a metal show or a punk show, but like, I saw your band name on the cover of the Austin Chronicle. They couldn't actually put our name on the cover of it, but they're like, but I was just curious. So there's like a curiosity because I think a lot of people don't even know really what we are, what we do. Like some people think we're like an electronic band or like we're just like maybe not even like a band comprised of like, four different musicians.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and then like, we also have like communities here who are tied into like activism and like, spiritual health and
Mm-hmm.
different things. So, there's a variety of types of communities um, that we're connected to here.
It's been a while since I've heard that like a band's name can do so much legwork for a band in terms of getting people to shows. Like that's incredible.
Yeah.
Like just the name alone can draw people. Wow. Um, so you mentioned organizations that you partner with. Is there a main either issue that you guys are kind of taking on or charity work that you really are focusing in on in terms of helping the community and all that? Or
Um, No, I mean well, I can't really speak for my bandmates, and I don't know. I mean, I don't really know this platform that well, so I don't really want to put like
oh yeah, yeah, totally.
names or
Yeah, yeah.
entities on the internet, but
Mhm.
civil rights obviously, and we show up to marches when we can, especially for what's going on right now with all the ICE shit that's going on. We try to play our part and inform people and protect people and educate our friends, in various ways. And I'm trying to guess like be careful about you know dropping any specific names or whatever it may be, things
Sure.
that we're involved in. But we're part of the community, and we want to protect Black and Brown people and marginalized people, and the LGBTQ plus community and all that, and we're surrounded by that, and those are our family, and these are the people that we care about and put energy towards.
Yeah. Did you start or did you were you active in those efforts starting from day one, or was there a certain point in the band's timeline when you kind of decided?
Well, I think like in the past, in the past we've been maybe more outwardly with different bands that we've had. We've been more outwardly or like outspoken about where we stood politically and what we were specifically trying to do.
Hmm,
I think with Fuck Money, we've been a little bit more covert about how we go about things. I think we've tried to draw the focus towards the music.
okay.
And we're black and queer guys in this band that we've been living through a lot of struggle and a lot of violence and discrimination our entire lives. So it's like we're living this shit constantly.
Yeah.
So it's not like we just started, getting involved in activism or just started doing this, that, and the other. It's like we've been on the receiving end of violence and the receiving end of government sanctioned hatred and shit, our entire lives. So there's an ebb and flow. There's like a time where we have to protect our energy and where we can't, where we're not like, on the ground or, marching, or we're not doing certain things, where we're trying to find, time to protect ourselves and protect our energy and just be focused, with our like immediate families and things like that. So there's an ebb and flow as far as like how much we get involved or who we're involved with. But we, like I said, we living this shit like constantly. Just whether it be, being afraid of, just, cops or ICE or whatever. It's just like a nonstop issue.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of people who have never seen this type of behavior before who are like, wow, this is happening. And it's like, no, this has been happening for a while to
Been
certain,
happening.
yeah, right. Um, so are you finding that a lot of your peer groups, when I say peer groups, I mean like bands that you hang out with, musicians that you hang out with, or are you finding that they're all pretty much getting activated, or is it sort of a mix? Or some still saying, "Oh, I don't do politics," which I have a real gripe about, but I won't go into that right now. But um,
I mean, I mean, I think that we personally only surround ourselves with people that are involved in some way, even if it's just as simple as like having discussion about what's going on. I
yeah,
might not know how you're involved, this, that, and the other, but yeah, if someone is dismissive or unwilling to like, get into these topics, then yeah, I probably can't like involve myself with that person. Like it's just, I think that's like a level of privilege and entitlement that I cannot relate to. So
mhm,
I think usually like people we're around are like are ready to have conversations and constructive observations of what's going on. We're like we're definitely in like the punk scene, but I'm sure there's like variations of like how and who gets involved. But I think the general consensus is like here is like you can't be a punk if you're a conservative.
right,
Or
yeah,
like if you can't have like a discussion about shit, like what are you doing?
yeah,
But so I think that's more or less how it is.
yeah. I saw somewhere that there is like a new crop of right-wing punks. I forget where I saw it, probably somewhere online or something, and I don't know how credible or legit it is, but it's like, I mean, you talk about two mutually exclusive concepts. I just don't see how that would even work. But so I usually when I interview people for this series, I kind of try to get a little bit personal too. Like, how are you yourself holding up in these times? And do you feel like with the ramping up of ICE in particular, specifically, like, do you feel um, a bit safer in Texas because they're not getting yet one of the invasion surges? Like, are you feeling like, do you get worried when you hear a knock at the door kind of thing? Or like,
Uh, the worry is definitely increasing. Uh, ICE is out here, like they're here. They're in my neighborhood right now, kidnapping people and abducting people. They're like literally down the block from me right now. And so, that's horrifying and it's like it's infuriating and I think a lot of people, including myself, sometimes like feel powerless or feel this, that, and the other. And I mean, I just personally have to just take certain I have to do certain things to just like get my mind right, whether it be like turning my phone off for a little bit, exercising, writing music. And then I guess like the biggest one is like spending time with people that I'm aligned with, people that I can talk to. And I
yeah,
think, we were talking about community earlier. That's kind of the biggest thing, right? Like that's the biggest way to take that edge off, that feeling of powerlessness or anger is like, get around your friends, teach each other something. People have to learn how to protect themselves, how to communicate, and how to protect, our most vulnerable friends right now. So best thing to do is connect with your community and like have conversations and and don't just like doom scroll all day long. Stay informed as possible, but like
right,
it's like the phone is like lit up constantly. There's always like something tragic happening. It's like I don't want to look away from that, and I
right.
don't, but I have to kind of just be smart with my time.
Yeah, seeing what's going on in Minnesota, it's like just seeing the actual like what it actually looks like for a community to come together because sometimes the idea of community can seem a little bit abstract, but like to actually see video of a community standing up for each other, for people standing up for their neighbors and not being able to call the cops to help them take care of a nice confrontation and all that. And one can only hope that, if and when this whole thing is over, that those community relationships stay intact going forward and we're the better for it. Hopefully. Have you found that what's going on is for better for worse intruded upon or stimulated some of your art as a creator or your creations as an artist? I don't want to, you're an art. Yeah.
Um, it always it's always sort of felt the same. I mean, like, I've always sort of, when I write music, I'm coming from a place of love, and the love is like, just like, I don't know, some feeling that I can't really explain. The love is just like a general love. Like it's a good, warm feeling. Like I feel good when I write music. I feel grounded. It helps me forget about the things, the ugly shit that's going on around me constantly. But also, I'd say the component that fuels the music the most is like the anger,
Hmm.
being angry at the system, angry at, our government, angry at, the systematic forces that like fuck us over constantly. And, so it's fueled with like love and anger, and it's always being channeled through in some sort of creative way, and then it's abstracted into sound, right? But so it's always been that has always been the process. And so with what's happening right now, it's just like the same thing,
Yeah.
same as business as usual, it's like the same shit. It's just different types of people are being targeted, it's like the target is, I mean, don't get me wrong, the target is still on my back. It's still black people are obviously still being targeted, but it's
Yeah.
just a broader target now. And
Yeah.
so yeah, like creatively, it's like the same channel of energy. I'm still angry, and I'm still scared, and
Yeah.
that still has to come through. And so I'm just lucky that I'm able to like channel that energy into something.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, there has been, um, you know, um, throughout American history and even recent decades, there's always been um, federal forces who discriminated against people of color. No question about it. I don't think anybody can dispute that. But this whole thing about guys wearing masks in streets who don't abide by the law and who have 4 weeks of training, that's a whole new level, right? So have you
Yeah.
seen anything? Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree. Like shit's been fucked up, but things are especially weird right now, and especially, you know, trending towards or already sort of like authoritarianism, right? Like
Yeah.
we're there. Like fascism is 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 in full swing. So yeah, things have intensified because like you're saying, these like cops or ICE or whatever have been fully emboldened and to be violent and to break laws and and to obstruct justice and do all kinds of shit. So they're being told to go out there and violate you know people and their families and children, and it's just like something we've never seen it quite like this. It's been bad, but I've in my lifetime I've never seen anything like this. So it's especially scary because like yeah, there's who will hold these people accountable?
That's
How
yeah.
do we hold them accountable? When does that what when does this fucking break? When does this break? What gives? When does this
Mhm.
stop? So yeah, it is especially bad, and like you know Trump, wants to be a dictator so bad.
Yeah.
And it's just wild to see the US like so actively attacking itself, like we've caused, we've disrupted and destabilized governments around the world for forever, right? Like we've been doing this. What's happening here? We have done this to other countries countless times. And it's like some people are like, we deserve it. This is what we've done over these years. I'm like, we don't deserve it. Like the people don't deserve to this like karmic sort of whiplash that's coming around. Like it's the politicians and the people in power who need to be held accountable, who should be suffering, the consequences of this, but they're not. They're just enriching themselves. And yeah, it's wild, dude. I don't know. I don't know where this ends.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, we don't know. Has what's happened affected any of your plans for touring or any other plans for the band for the foreseeable future? Or...
Um, uh, I mean, it's for us, we have to obviously think about every detail going into any situation, even just driving around the US, just driving in the southern states, like driving through the Bible Belt. We have to be really cautious about like where we go and like, and how we're moving and stuff like that, because just like I said, it's always been scary being a person of color, being in this fucking country. It's
Yeah,
worse now than ever. Now, as far as traveling and touring, yeah, we just have to kind of keep that same attitude. However, I have a lot of friends who have had to cancel tours
yeah,
or who are like afraid to even just like traverse across the US. They especially are scared to leave the country and
right.
not be able to get back in the country. People who have lived here their entire lives, or who are legal or undocumented or whatever it may be.
Mhm.
So yeah, it has affected what's happening has affected everybody, in every level, in the arts and etc. So yeah, it's weird.
Absolutely. So you got about 5 or so minutes. You usually ask toward the end of these conversations if um, you know, if you have any hope, and if so, what are you hopeful for? And then also if you have any suggestions to people on how they can um, act and resist if they want to, if they feel like they want to do something, but they're not sure how. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have hope because like I'm still convinced that the majority of people around me um, are aligned in some fundamental way, and they don't want to see things go down the way that they're going down in this country.
except for your neighbor Elon Musk, but
Shit.
sorry, dude, had to throw it
Yeah, it's like I'm lucky that I'm in Austin. For a time I thought I was lucky to live in Austin, which was like a blue island, in Texas for a while where, you could find more like left-leaning people, etc. But yeah, Elon showed up, Joe Rogan showed up, and like a lot of that vibe has been decimated. You have a lot of these like, these I guess these like Proud Boy kind of incel type of dudes like kind of flooding the streets now. But despite all that, yeah, I mean, I'm not willing to let go of hope for something better. I think like um hopefully we trend towards at some point. Hopefully there's something gives and we see some glimmer of possibility for like a just like more peace and just like a better future and like a different forms of leadership, different forms of like structure. Like, of course, I have to hold on to that. How we get there is going to be like a chess game. It's going to be extremely challenging. And I
Yeah.
think I said earlier, the best thing to do, best thing people can do is like you know, stay close to their friends and get together, cook food together, talk, and like find out like what if there are any organizations or if there's anything in their city that they can get involved in, any kind of groups, activist groups or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Do your research and find out how you can belong and how you can protect yourself and educate yourself as we go through this. That's kind of the first thing that everyone really needs to do. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah. You mentioned before, like people who have, are very pro MAGA, and I'm the same way. I just don't really know how to communicate with them anymore. And, I try to commiserate with my friends and talk about what's happening sort of as a mutual kind of catharsis. What about somebody who you run into maybe at a show who's like just, and I'm sure this is a tiny, tiny number of people, but who aren't aware of what's happening and maybe or aren't or who come up to you maybe like after shows and just like, why do you think this is going on? Like, how do you respond to folks like that? Do you just say like just educate yourself or
There's levels to it.
yeah,
I think like there's like a cult of mentality around it.
yeah,
Where you don't know who you're talking to sometimes, or like a lot of like the real MAGA people are impossible to like even reason with or like have like an actual critical discussion with. But then yeah, maybe there are other people. There's some small group of people that's like completely uninformed. I think that they're probably lazy. And they are living in some kind of bubble that I'm unfamiliar with. I don't know how someone could just be oblivious to what's going on. But like I'm willing to have conversations. Like I will try to have conversations with certain people, but like I'll test that fire sometimes and sometimes it works out. Sometimes like you will have a good discussion with someone or or you might be able to like get through to somebody. That's just like depends on what type of person you are and if you're willing to go there. If someone is actually being inquisitive in good faith,
yeah,
I think it's possible and I don't think you should shy away from it. But yeah, usually it's like you can ask like did Donald Trump lose the election in 2020? You know what I mean? And if they can't answer that, then like, all right, bye. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of joking aside though, like, yeah, have discussions, but like, don't spin your don't spin your wheels. Don't like get your blood pressure up if some idiot asks you a stupid question or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Or take whatever measures you want to take. But
Exactly.
it's hard. It's contentious out here. It's not easy to get into these discussions,
Yeah.
So
Have you thought about leaving the country at all, or
I think about it a lot.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
yeah.
Definitely.
Um, well, these aren't easy conversations to have, and so for that reason and beyond, I really appreciate you talking to me about it and taking part in the series. It's really special. Thanks.
Of course. Yeah, you're doing the thing that I hope anyone would do, which is just like get together, talk about things and just try to like learn more and also just like feel connected to people who care about the same things, it makes you feel a little bit less alone and, like merging obviously music and politics and activism, it's like all interconnected, it's like you
Right.
I don't know how someone can write music right now without thinking about these things, you
Right.
know? So
Yeah.
I appreciate what you're doing.
Well, again, props to you for taking part and speaking up because I think it's so important for us to do. So, I really appreciate the time, Alton. It's been a pleasure to meet with you.
Cool. You too, man. Thanks so much.
See you around.